What's up, everybody? Hope everybody had a good day today. We all woke up this morning with some news. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but you are listening to the Juice Box Heroes podcast. I'm your host, one of your hosts, PK. We got the Dubon Fan Club president, Mr. Moreno. And as always, we've got Mr. Sweet B Bones. Bryles is in the house, fellas. How was y'all's day today?
It was very busy, very busy.
Busy day.
We had one of our loyal listeners decide that yesterday at 5:00 he was going to send a meet-in notification for 2:00 this afternoon. So I'll give you a guess of who that was.
And yeah, well, I always hit decline when he does that.
Yeah, man. No, just like I said, I look forward to this every single week. So I'm glad it's here. Bryles, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. My question is that loyal listeners subscribe and like the show. That's the biggest part.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, he does. He does. I think he's all right. Well, then
fair enough.
But all in all, man, it was good day, man. Yeah, good day, busy day. We're gonna start off with the news. I think everybody's aware of now. Bregman signs with Boston, 3 years, 120 with opt-outs after every year. Trust me, we will get into this in this episode, but since that's such a big topic, we're going to start off with the little topics, and we'll make our way to him. The Astros do sign an infielder. I will not attempt to say his last name. His first name is Luis, though. He's an infielder. Guillorme, I think is how it's pronounced.
Good job, buddy.
So we signed him. Another bench guy, depth guy. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, he kind of struggled last year. I think he played for like 3 teams last year. The couple of years he played with the Mets, he was really good off the bench. Again, like you said, this is a depth piece. He's probably going to battle with who's the other guy that we signed to a minor league deal. I think he also played with the Angels last season, Zach Short. So I guess they're going to battle it out for, a bench spot. So I don't know if that means that, Dubon is officially an outfielder. So I have no idea.
You should know, sir.
Well, I mean, I think you're right. He's going to be battling for like the 27th roster spot is what we're looking at. So he needs to have a good spring. And I honestly, yeah, he's a journeyman. That's all it is. He can play a lot of positions, which is fantastic. But, I mean, you've got Dubon, which I know we've got the fan club president over here, but he is definitely under Dubon for right now, unless he proves it. So we'll see what happens after that. But, yeah, I mean, it was a good depth signing, but like we've already talked about, it's a depth signing at that. So let's see if he makes the 27-man roster, and then let's see if he makes the 40-man roster. So what do you say, PK?
I think I'm just kind of tired of seeing depth signings. I said this last year. Typically, teams don't let go of good players to be signed by other teams. So, we still have the glaring outfield issue that we try not to talk about in every episode, but it typically comes back up. Bryles, I know you posted today about Verdugo. I'm still with you there. Where the hell is Verdugo? What is he asking for? Chris doesn't like it, which is cool. That's fine. That's why we have this show, so we can debate. But, there's still some outfield. We still need outfield help. I think right now, if you roll out right now you're rolling out Dubon, Myers, and Chazzy in the outfield with Jordan as your DH. I don't think that gives most of fans. It doesn't really give me the warm and fuzzies. I mean, that's your you're hoping for Chaz, like we talked about. I don't know how many times we're hoping for a bounce back season. Only 107, 108 now. Yeah, so we're hoping for the bounce back season, right? So I'm not. It's like cool. We signed another depth guy. Cool. Right. Same way I felt whenever we signed Gamble, like cool. All right. But it's done. It's another depth guy. We'll see what Dana Brown has up his bullshit sleeve, and we'll go from there. But pitchers and catchers reported today. So finally,
there you go.
Finally, some real baseball is happening.
There you go. Yeah, we are one step closer to the goal, which is opening day. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll be honest with you guys, man. I kind of passed out early last night, so I woke up to the news, and so like it was just the first thing that popped in my head was like, oh man, that's right, pitchers and catchers, and then I see like the X feed just blowing up, and I know we'll get into that, but I mean, I know Browse. I know you posted earlier today about Verdugo, and I only shake my head. I mean, I like the possibility of Verdugo. I mean, I just don't know why you would sign him because right now, as PK just mentioned, you got McCormick, you've got Myers, you've got Dubon, you've got Ben Gamel, you've got Taylor Trammell, you've got Pedro Leon, and now the word on the street is that I guess DeCenzo is going to play left field. So you've already got 5 to 6 outfielders already. So I guess you could go for Verdugo, and then what is that going to do? That's going to guarantee what Trammell gets sent down. I mean, I like that. I just don't see the Astros signing another outfielder. I mean, that's going to give up 7. All
Well,
Go
you
ahead, go ahead.
signed
Yeah.
Verdugo for the names that that just came out of your mouth. That's why you
I
signed
get
Verdugo.
it, but what I'm saying is that if they did not have faith in Chazzy McChaz coming back and bounce back and Myers, then they would have already made some of these signings that we talked about last week. I mean, I don't know why all of a sudden, unless they were holding their breath to break the bank with Bregman, and now that he's gone, now maybe they're like, okay, yeah, now we can afford the whatever Verdugo wants. I mean, that could be it too. I don't know.
Could be.
And that's what I was going to lead off with. So Dana Brown obviously was sitting at the table with the Tigers, the Red Sox, and the Cubs playing credit card roulette at the end of dinner. And guess what? His card didn't get picked. So he's got some money to spend is where I'm going with that. We need a left-handed bat. We need an outfielder. Verdugo is there. And guess what? Nobody really plays well in New York unless they are built for New York. So I'm thinking Verdugo is going to be coming here. I don't care what anybody says about how much he's supposed to get, AAV, and all that other kind of stuff. Let's be realistic here. We're at pitchers and catchers, just like we talked about, and he's not signed yet. So that means a couple of things. One, he's unrealistically thinking that he's going to get, I don't know, $13, $14 million a year. Or two, nobody really needs him right now. So I'm thinking that we're going to take that money that we saved from Bregman going to the Red Sox, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But anyway, and go get Verdugo to actually put in the outfield, because everybody that you just talked about, Chris, is a C- to D+. Like, they're passing, don't get me wrong, but this is not somebody that is a championship built outfield. What you just described was like a White Sox outfield from last year. So what I want to see is us to actually spend a little bit of money here, go get Verdugo, and then build around that. So yes, we do have pieces. We've got guys that are coming up from AAA, and I know you know the AAA way better than I do, but at the same time, I don't think these guys are quite ready to bust out. If they are, please, please, please tell me I'm wrong, because I would love to see it, but I think we need Verdugo and we need the bat also in the lineup.
Yeah, and Dana Brown said something this afternoon. I don't know if you guys saw it or caught it. I was on X. He got interviewed, of course, at West Palm Beach, and of course they're asking him about the outfield and how does he feel about it, and so he names off the same guys obviously that we just did, and he's like, I feel really strong about our outfield right now, right?
Well, he's the
and
only one.
He gets
and that's
paid
what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at, right? And so it's like, I think back to last year when he and the team, BS'd us for 3 months about a bruised shin bone with Kyle Tucker, right? And yeah, that we have this off season with Bregman, right? Now we're going to kind of course, again, we're going to get into some of the stuff, but just trying to lay the foundation as far as like how I feel about Dana Brown. Now, we all know that he's got to say specific things in public because, well, that's what you have to do when you're, running a multi-million dollar, operation. However, you can't bullshit a bullshitter, right? So don't BS me. There's no way that you can honestly think that your outfield currently right now is as strong as you think it is, simply because of the names that we have just rattled off. Now, you go and get Verdugo. That doesn't really mean like now your outfield is, so much, a lot better. It's better mostly because we know what we're getting with Jake Myers. We saw what happened with Chaz last year. Now, he was injured, right? But he definitely had a down season compared to 23. We know Dubon, even though he had the hot start last year, and I know I was, pimping him and, look at Dubon, yada, yada. Chris was right. He comes back down to earth and he hits 220, 230, right? That's Dubon.
I like hearing that. It's good
Just
to see.
Don't get used to it. Don't get used to it. But
that's twice now. That's twice.
That is. But you see what I'm going at is there's just no way that you can confidently say that I'm going to roll out these 5 guys in the outfield and say we're good to go. There's just no way. You're lying to yourself, and then you're trying to make it that your fans, be stupid enough to believe what's coming out of your mouth when it comes to the outfield.
Well, I mean, and unfortunately, I think this outfield is going to be what you see. Because again, the report that I read even before all this Bregman to Boston stuff went down was that they were $5 million underneath that next tax threshold, and then and they said that they were only going to break the bank for Bregman, and then what did they do? Their next move was Ben Gamble. So I think this slew of backup outfielders is what you see is what you're going to get, and hopefully. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just wish that they would just come out and say, listen, yes, we did bring on Christian Walker. Yes, we have the new guys that we got from Chicago. But, I would rather them just say, hey, we're going to kind of retool this year, kind of build back up the minor league system. And, and then, like I said, we're going to, have more money to go shopping next offseason. I would much rather them just say that than, drop the, moniker, we're built for this. I mean, not with that outfield, you're not. You ain't built for nothing. You're built for another first round exit. But
that's if you make it to the first round.
Yeah, that's if you make it to the first round.
No,
so
we'll make it to the first round. Okay.
No, we'll
make it to the first round.
Give me 2 seconds on that. We're gonna take one out of Dodger Mike's book here. And I see Verdugo.
Don't give him any shout outs.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take the mic out of it. We're going to take one out of the Dodgers book here, and I think we are going to sign Verdugo. We're going to end up being under that luxury tax threshold. However, Mr. Verdugo is not going to be getting money till like 2034. So, how about that?
Ain't no way. I would love it.
I don't see it happening. I mean, I'd be cool with it.
I would love it, but I just don't see Houston deferring. They're just not
some Bobby Bow money. That's what I want to see.
Hey,
yeah.
If it pays them $1 million a year for 30 years, then okay, $1 million. Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with that. So, are we ready? Are we ready to talk?
I think
about
we're ready.
The travesty. The travesty that happened this morning. Okay, so unless you've been living under a rock all day, Bregman signed with the Red Sox this morning. Or overnight, however you want to do it. 3 years, $120 million. Opt-outs after every year. So he is betting on himself. Report is, at least what I read, was that he will be moving to second base up there, which means that he is the highest paid second baseman in MLB. Xander Bogaerts was at $25 million. And now Bregman's getting $40 million, at least for this year. So let's hear your first thought. What was your first thought when you saw it? I saw mine this morning at about 5:45 when I went to turn my phone off for that annoying alarm noise. That's when I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, I literally said shit," and turned it off and went back to bed for a minute.
All right, so
first thoughts.
I saw it at about 3:15 this morning, and the first thing that I thought was, man, F Bregman, like for real, because it's like, I mean, I get it. I don't want to hate on any guy going out there and getting paid. I don't. You do you. I mean, but it's like, when are these guys going to understand that you look at Springer? What is this? What has Springer accomplished? Not a damn thing, except for his DL numbers have skyrocketed since he left Houston. Which again, I understand the Springer thing was a completely separate ordeal. But then you look at Garrett Cole, right? Garrett Cole, yes, he won a Cy Young. Yes, Yankees went to the World Series, which they lost, but he has never been at that same level as he was with the Astros. And then look at Correa. This is a Correa version 2.0 sign-in right here. And I mean, what's the point? Were the reports wrong that everything I read said that he didn't want a short-term deal? Or 3 years is pretty short, and essentially it's a bunch of one-year deals.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it. I mean, everybody can show me the 27 career games he played at Fenway Park. I don't care. That was just my first thought until and I'll let Brawls go before we really start breaking down what this means and going forward. All right, so go ahead, Brawls.
All right, let me get on my soapbox real quick. Okay, so if you guys don't know, I run numbers pretty much for a living, and the first thing I wanted to break down was, okay, so he went to Boston. What is he actually chasing? Because the first thing everybody's going to say is like, oh man, he was just going for the money. He wasn't. What he was looking to do was get out of Houston. If you look at it from a numbers perspective, and he either has a really terrible accountant or doesn't understand what he's doing, he's at 17% less money moving to Massachusetts and playing 81 games in the city of Boston. That's what that means. So where he could be making 17% more here. And on top of that, which I've mentioned already, he's losing an HEB contract, which, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Dunkin' Donuts is going to pay him something. But he's also going to be losing his distribution from a major grocery store here for all the stuff that he peddles. So he is losing a ton of money by actually moving to Boston and doing what he's doing. His tax implications are absolutely going to kill him. So why am I telling you all this boring stuff? To make sure that I'm pounding this home to all you Astros fans. He doesn't care about it. The money is there. He wanted money. Don't get me wrong. But what he wanted to really do was to leave Houston. He wanted to go play for Boston. He wanted to go play for Chicago. And he already said he didn't want to go play for Detroit. If it was really about money, he was going to go to Detroit because they had 171 for the same amount of years that the Astros offered. So guess what? He wanted to go to Boston. End of story.
It's fair. And I think I saw something on X. I think H-Town Wheelhouse. Let's give him a little shout out. I think he posted something about, I think it was like 23.8 million. I think
that was
is
with
what
federal tax too. Yeah.
With taxes also. But all those guys, they don't give it, you can look at Blake Snell.
Tax nerding, by the way.
You could look at Blake Snell last year, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. And the offseason last year when we were, tied to him and he goes and signs with San Francisco. What he ends up bringing home over there, after taxes and stuff would have been around the same that he would have been making here, so I don't know, man. I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it because I'm happy that the freaking Bregman saga is over and now we can actually move forward with the team that we have. Like we talked about here, where I was flipping back and forth from being excited about the possibility of Bregman coming back to being excited about the young guys that we got for him, for Tucker. It kind of annoys me with the way these contracts are, right? It's just like Chris says, a bunch of 1-year deals. And And so I'm gonna read a couple things that I saw on X. So this is one thing I don't know, a couple hours ago. So it's remember, folks, it's only a business. Quit loving players; they will leave you. Treat them as assets. It's what they want. You buy and sell assets without any feelings. And so, as the fan, you're emotionally attached to the player because of all that player has helped your organization and your city accomplish, right? But at the end of the day, there's no loyalty. They don't have any loyalty to the organization. They should. Some of them should. I mean, you look at Altuve, the guy was willing to move to left field, which I want to talk about that here in a little bit too. Like what the hell they're going to do with that. But you had this guy, offer to go to left field and publicly let everyone know that they better re-sign Bregman, right? Only for it to fall through. And for it to fall through in the way that you had the 6-year 156 on the table. Then we read something about he doesn't want to take anything less than 6 to 7 years, right? Now, I was talking to someone today, and I really don't know, how much I can trust his what he told me, but he said that the Tigers had a 6-year 176 out there. Did y'all hear anything about that?
I heard
no,
171.
Something like that. So he turns that down. Okay. So you're not looking for the 6 or 7 year thing that your agent or your team is pushing out there. Then you go to, now I got to find it. Then you go to Michael Schwab. For what it's worth, I was told that Bregman wanted to return to Houston, but not for less than $30 million a year. Didn't care for the years. He made 30.5 last year. He didn't want a pay cut, which the Astros were offering at $26 million. Astros never upped their offer. So again, I kind of agree with you, Bryles, where it's like it really didn't matter. I don't think if the Astros would have come up to 6 185, right, or 6 190. I think he was probably ready to go. I think the thing that kind of annoys me the most is this. What's typical about these agents and the reports that come out is that these agents, they throw stuff out to the media so that there's leverage for their player, so they can, play these teams against each other. I also heard something on the radio this morning that there's something in the CBA where a team cannot officially come out and say they're out on a player, which means that it continues to drive up. That's why Dana Brown never came out and said, if you think about it, he never came out and said we're out on him. Right. Ever. It was we're having internal conversations, or as long as Bregman's out in the market, we'll have internal conversations. So I'm happy in the fact that we can actually move on from this and we can see the team that we have here. I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that as a fan that Bregman again chose another path like Correa, Springer, Cole, that route, because you again, like Chris said, like you see what's happened with those guys, and I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I think he's probably going to do really good at Boston. It's just kind of annoying when there's all those reports of he wanted 6-7 years, but then you're settling on, you're settling on $40 million a year, but you're settling on a 3-year, $120 million contract with opt-outs after every year. So it's just kind of how baseball is, man. That's the bottom line. It's a business. You're going to have the fans like us that's going to be upset about it because, again, what he brought to his organization. But I'm happy with the team we have, and I'm ready to roll forward. So that's where I'm at with the Bregman thing.
No, and man, you made a lot of really good points, and and I didn't know that about the CBA. I mean, so who knows? I mean, the Astros could have been out on him after they made the Tiger deal, and
Right.
they couldn't officially say, yeah, dude, we're moving on from, even though, as like we should have saw the writing on the wall, because it looks to me now, looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, they definitely moved on. Why would you go trade for a third baseman now, and then a third baseman for tomorrow, and then, I mean, because like you're right. I mean, these camps that for the agents, they're going to go out there and put stuff out to, kind of drive like a competition again for Bregman. I'm not gonna lie, man. I was really pissed off this morning about it. Like, I was ready to give him the Carlos Beltran treatment. Like, the first thing I thought of was like, man, I'm glad I didn't get all that stuff on clearance for nothing. But like, at the end of the day, man, I put out a post this morning, and it was just like, listen, and again, even in that post, now listening to you guys, I was still wrong, so I'm batting over 2. Because I thought it was all about the money, and and I put out that I didn't want to hear him say I wanted to stay in Houston or Houston will always be my home, and even if that swap report is, not 100% fact checked or whatever. I mean, I don't buy that he wanted to stay here. I want to stay here, but I can't do it for less than 30. Then you don't want
Well,
to
you
stay
don't
here.
really want to. Yeah, you really don't want to stay
That's what
there.
I'm saying.
I get-
It's
yeah.
like, I mean, if you want to stay here, then you're willing to do whatever it takes to stay here. But I will say that the one thing that all of us Astros fans can take from this is that, like I'm really happy in this team and the fact that they didn't could you imagine the Astros right now if they sat and they waited until today to address any type of potential Bregman replacements
dude.
until now? Dude, you want to talk about, now we're talking I
A
couldn't even tell
disaster.
you that. Yeah. I mean, so so at least on that part, I mean, yes, it did cost us trading Tucker. I mean, but then again, we're doing the same thing next offseason. Are we going to sign Tucker? Even though we know deep down inside we're not going to we're not going to sign Tucker. So, it's like I'm with PK as far as I'm glad this saga is over. It sucks, because now that when you get to our age, you get to see these guys. We saw him get drafted. I saw him in person. His in 20, I think it's 2016 in spring training where he was still wearing number 80 something. Then you see him come up and you see him mature from a rookie starting off his career 0 for 30 something, and then he becomes the Bregman that we all know and love, and then you see him leave. But all I gotta say is, man, what a freaking offseason.
Dude, wild.
If you really kind of take back now as we kind of transition now that pitchers and catchers have reported. I mean, if I would have told you without really mentioning what the packages were that we got back, if I would have told you that, hey, we're going to go into 2025 with no Bregman, no Tucker, no JV, you would have probably thought that this team was about to rebuild.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure.
I mean, just to be honest with you, but now it's like you look at it as, okay, we've got Isak Paredes at third base, we got Hayden Wisniewski, and then we have another stud coming up probably next season for third base, and then you add Christian Walker to the lineup, and it's just like, man, even though we lost those, and these are not just guys that were with the team a couple years. I mean, these are pillars of this team.
Yeah. These aren't dudes.
Last 10 years. Yeah, they're not just dudes. I mean, these are guys that when you look back at this last 10-year run that the Astros were on, these guys are probably the top 5 or 6 guys that you're naming when you go back 10 years, from now. And you're like, man, you remember that run back in, that 10-year run, man, look, remember the roster we had? We had Bregman, we had Correa, we had Kyle Tucker come up. And just to, I just find it kind of mind blowing that we still go into this season, this spring training, with the same expectation of winning the division, even after losing those 3 key pieces. So, on that note, I'm over being upset about it, and like you, PK, I'm ready to see what this squad has, man. I'm ready to see who's going to step up in the outfield, and with that, I'm going to hand it over to Brawls to get his final feelings on the Bregman saga, which is officially concluded.
Yeah, my final word on it is it was looking at it last night. I know it was blowing up your guys' phones, but in this new age of where we've got athletes that are trying to build a brand, I was very surprised at the selection that he actually made. And I don't know, maybe there's, like I said, something in the background where he's got all kinds of endorsements and other things going on that we don't know about. So, but there's a lot of guys, and look at Ohtani. I mean, that guy is probably making more money on his endorsements in the US and Japan than he's actually making playing baseball. So I don't know what Bregman's got, but whatever he did, good for him. I guess he definitely made it very clear that money was the deal. But to both your points, we had no all-star at third base. We had no all-star at first base, if I'm correct, in last season. And both Christian Walker and Isak Paredes were in the All-Star game for the National League. So we just added 2 All-Stars into our infield. So yeah, that's the thing that's kind of lost in this whole story, which I'm super excited about. And not only that, with Tucker leaving, we got Cam Smith, who's our number 1 prospect now. So I do. My heart hurts as an Astros fan, but at the same time, honestly, I think we got better. And it's really hard for me to say that, but I think we got better. And I'll leave it at that.
No, I mean, you're right. And one last thing. These last 4 or 5 years of people booing us and saying they hate Houstoners are a bunch of cheaters. I got a buddy of mine that lives up close to Boston, and they're literally celebrating that they just signed Bregman. And this was a guy that 2 years ago, hell, even last year, that they were booing him, calling him cheater. All these dudes, they're all full of crap, man. Like Yankees fans are pissed off that they didn't get Bregman. So that's to wrap this up. Like, yeah, all these people, they're just booing them because that's the in thing to do. They would kill, like we said it from the day one. A lot of these fan bases would give their left nut to go on the run that we just went on.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Regardless of the implications of what happened.
Yeah, we still got 2 banners. No,
yeah.
I was just gonna say we're gonna wrap this up here pretty soon, but I wanted to pose this question because, again, I saw something that Dana Brown said about Altuve in left field. You know, he's still taking like pop-ups out in left field. Like he's still out there doing reps. And I'm like,
yeah, he needs to stop.
Yeah, like why are we doing this? Okay, yeah. Why? Like you were doing it so I guess in the hopes of bringing Bregman back, but clearly it's not. I know it's happened today, right? But I would feel like the team knew, fairly recently. So it's like Altuve, put your 14-inch glove up, go back to your 10.5, and go to second base.
Where you belong.
Where you belong. Let's focus over there. We've got 19 outfilders to play. So
or keep 14-inch gloves so they can't hit it over.
That's true. That's true.
There you go.
But hey, no, I'm. It sucks, man. It does. It sucks it always sucks when you lose someone like Bregman. It's the same way we felt with Springer, Correa, Cole. It sucks, man. But it's on to the next, right? On to the next, we got let's see, the rest of the team reports in 4 days, right? The 17th on Monday.
Yeah.
So, spring training games will be coming up soon, so we'll be following that. And dude, it's countdown. It's countdown to opening day. Getting close.
Yeah, and also too, on that same level, Browse and I will be reporting to Field 1 on Monday for our first spring training game as well. For League City Little League. There you go.
Oh, I thought y'all were going to West Palm Beach without me. I didn't know.
No.
Come see us at the Sports Flex. I'll be on the mound.
All right, fellas, y'all good? Everything good? Anything else before we get out of here?
No, let's put the book on this, and like I said, I'm ready to look forward to spring training. Games are going to start, I think, on the 28th, I believe. So, like I said, schedule update. We, some stuff came up with Jimmy from Astros Future, so we'll have him on next Thursday. So that'll take us through, what is that, the 20th, right before the games start, and then we'll get the spring training going, and then we'll just slowly start trekking to opening day, and then that's when things are going to start popping.
That's when it goes down. Once the season starts, everyone, we will be moving to 2 episodes a week. We'll be going live on Sundays and, as always, on Thursdays. So when the season starts, we'll do some more live episodes, just kind of recap everything. But until then, I'm PK. That's Chris. That's Bryles, and you are listening to the Juicebox Heroes podcast. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Hook 'em.